Welcome back to the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. Today I'm speaking with Maya. Maya talks about coming to the UK around 20 years ago to make it in the music industry. Maya did make it as a successful DJ and has travelled the world doing so. However, today we are focusing on Kambo. I met Maya last year when I went along to one of her Kambo ceremonies. She'll be talking about where Kambo comes from and its purpose and how it can help you on your healing journey. She also shares her amazing experience of going into the Amazon jungle with natives, where she got to help their community and also work with the Kambo frog as well. I'd love if you could hit that like button and subscribe. There's episodes of the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast out every second Sunday, all with amazing guests who have inspiring stories. But for now, here's Maya. Hi, Maya. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. I can't wait to get stuck in and hear all about your story. I know bits, you've told me bits here and there, but there's lots to delve into. And I'm really intrigued to know what life was like before you came to the UK and did all the amazing work that you're doing now. So, do you want to take us back to that time and what life was like back then and why you decided to move over here?
Hi, hello. Yeah, thank you for having me, Karen. Well,
Yeah.
I've lived in the UK for over 20 years, so I was pretty, I was young when I moved over, and my life kind of really started mainly in the UK. I've been in the music industry since I was 15, so I'm 40 now, so it's a long time, and basically that's what my life has always been. It's been music, and I'm originally from Slovenia, and when I was growing up, I was also a child actor back home, and I did all sorts of funny things. And then I moved over to the UK, and now I ended up in Glasgow, where I've been for the last, I think it's been 12 years or 11 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And you said when we spoke before, you'd said you moved to London. You moved really, was it you were really focused on your music, which you still do now, and then obviously moving up here. What brought the move to Glasgow then?
To be honest, I just had enough of London, and Glasgow has amazing people and a great music scene, and it's a lot cheaper compared to London, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
slower. So yeah, it just kind of made sense to come up here.
And what's that been like then? That's obviously a big change and away from your family as well and having to make new friends. So can you tell us a bit about that whole transition and moving over here and what unfolded after that? What life was like here?
Well, my all my family's in Slovenia. I'm an only child, so I don't really have much family. It was a pretty
Mm-hmm.
smooth move. The only thing is just the weather is a lot worse than London, so just
Mm-hmm.
still trying to get used to that.
Mm-hmm. And obviously working on your music as well, but you ended up going down the alternative health and holistic therapies. How did that come about? Were you going through something in your own life that made you turn to that? Because I know that was the case for me and how I ended up doing the type of work that I do.
Yeah, I think we all come to this work from our own experiences, through our own journeys. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I guess, well, I already decided that I wanted to study something to do with therapy quite early on. So even when I was already working as a professional DJ, I did a degree in complementary medicine in London. And that was in 2008. So I have some formal study with it, and some practical study that went with the degree, and it was really, really interesting. So that was my basis. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I thought at one point in my life I will maybe need it, because obviously music is quite an
Mm-hmm.
unstable profession. So that's how I
Mm-hmm.
started. And I've been trying to work on my own healing for, well, as long as I can remember, really. And I still am. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's ever finished. I think it's always a work in
Yeah,
progress. So we always
I
continue
agree.
to evolve. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess the path I am on now is a little bit different. And that maybe started about 7 years ago when I started working with medicines from the rainforest, and kind of deepening the healing work with plant medicine, and a little bit, guys, slightly more hardcore stuff in terms of healing, where I really, I really realized that normal modalities like psychotherapy or counseling or yoga, whatever, is just not quite enough
Mm-hmm.
for things I was dealing with. And then eventually, with all that work and continuing into more study, I'm now doing this. So I do almost do
Cool.
more medicine work than healing than music work. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it all kind of started there.
Yeah. And was there anything, did you feel, because we all have that one time in our lives, don't we? You know, a hardship or challenge that we've had to face. Was there anything in particular for you that you felt you had to navigate that led you to turn to alternative methods?
I guess the when I went through a few years in my life when I was touring a lot, and that was, I think, it became more and more and more challenging. So through that exhaustion and burnout, and
Mm-hmm.
everything else that goes into that lifestyle of being touring for something like up to eight
Mm-hmm.
weeks, living from a suitcase, not sleeping, DJing. So
Mm-hmm.
it got very challenging. But also, I've been dealing with issues since my childhood. Different type of complex trauma. I have OCD, um, all sorts of issues like that. And because of the touring lifestyle and the burnout, I think everything just kind of crashed at one point where I realized I needed something more. So that's when I really started
Mm-hmm.
to look into, other methods like medicines from the Amazon, which really helped.
Mm-hmm. So Kambo was one of them, and obviously the work that you've did, and obviously I've been to your little space and had Kambo with you as well. Can you tell us about that? Because can I just say as well that the way that you explained everything to me, that I went in sort of really not really knowing that much or what to expect. I hadn't really spoken to anyone about their experience, but I knew about it for about 2 years. I'd heard of Kambo, never felt the call, and then I just knew when the time was right. And you explained it so well that I actually felt so connected to the frog when that time came and you were and just the space that you held. Yeah, it was really an amazing experience. So what was it that made you first have Kambo and then go down the route of actually holding space for other people?
Thank you for your kind words. It's always amazing to get nice feedback. That's why I do this for. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Kambo, like all the other medicines that I've worked with, like for example, Kambo, ayahuasca, these are all medicines that are very deep and they work pretty fast and efficiently when you really devote yourself to it. And I
Mm-hmm.
guess I was just so fascinated with how it helped me that I then decided to continue the study and continue working with it myself. And I guess it's
Mm-hmm.
something that just calls you, like the way it called you to work with it. I guess it maybe called me to serve, and it's working with me so much that I feel that I'm doing the right thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then someone came into your life. Someone from was he was from the Amazon jungle, was he? He came over to the UK and he became a sort of mentor to you. And then you ended up going out and staying in the jungle for 3 weeks. Can you tell us how that came about and how he came into your life
Well,
and took you on
the
that
the,
amazing experience?
the story is a little bit, yeah. So I guess through the work I was doing with medicines, I then became
Mhm.
closer and closer to indigenous traditions, and
Yeah.
just getting more involved into things like fundraising, organizing retreats. I guess activism is part of the work, and study as well. So I work mainly with the Hunikoin community, and my teacher is called Kawa. Uh, he's a Hunikoin from Brazil, and a lot of my work um, is study with them, but also supporting the cause, supporting what they do, helping others
Mhm.
heal and connect to these
Mhm.
communities. So that's kind of um, how that came
Mhm.
about. And I still work very closely with the Hunikuin and the Yawanawa. And with the work I do, it's very important to me that it's in reciprocity with Indigenous people, that it's done fairly, um, that it supports their villages. And
Yeah.
yes, I think these
Yeah.
things always have to go hand in hand.
Yeah. Because you were over there, but you were helping with other people build and helping them build as part of their community.
So myself, Kawa, and my good friend Veronica, who's an anthropologist, we created an organization called Barisha, and through the Barisha, we do most of this work. We've been fundraising for various causes, and one of them is the school that we're still fundraising for.
Mhm.
So part of my
Mhm.
the reason why I went to Brazil, to the Amazon, was to work on this project. To there's so many things that need to be done and sorted, and that was one of the reasons. And we're still
Mhm.
fundraising for all these things. So if anyone is feeling like they want to chip in a little bit, I have all the links on my website. So it's always a
Yeah.
work in progress. There's so much to be done in the Amazon. But that was one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I went there this year.
Yeah. It looked amazing, like all of your pictures and obviously sharing and being in the community. I know obviously when we spoke before and you said it was actually really hard. It looks wonderful on Instagram, but obviously living there for 3 weeks, 24 hours a day, it was really challenging and hard because it's just a completely different way of life. Is there anything that you can, because this is, something that most of us will never get to experience. Can you share any of your experience with us and what that was like day to day?
It was extremely hard. I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
Mm.
yeah. I thought I was maybe prepared for it, but nothing can really prepare you for how
Mm.
different and challenging it is because, um, in that particular community, there's no water, there's no electricity, there's no signals, so you can't get in touch with your loved ones. There's no toilets. It's just
Mm.
nothing. So that is going from comfort living here to something completely, you know, very basic, but also extremely magical because there's not many places on earth where you can still experience that kind of lifestyle and culture and connection to nature and the spirit. So that was really, really magical. But it was hard, and I got
Mhm.
very ill when I came back. So it's not something to be taken lightly. But well
Yeah.
worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. For the experience and yeah, like it's not many of us will get the chance to do that. So, what about the work that you're doing now? Because you still do your music, and it looks like you have a lot of fun doing that. So you kind of mix it, in both worlds. You do the holistic healing, but you still love your music as well. So, what's life like now?
Um, yeah, it's can be quite polarized or different sometimes. That I still do my
Yeah.
DJing, and then on the other hand, I'm doing all the healing work, running the circles, working with
Hmm.
different people. It kind of is very different, but in some ways quite similar because music I find is quite shamanic in some ways as well, where there's hundreds of people dancing and I get to play music for them. I mean, it's the best feeling in the world. And sometimes now in ceremonies, I'll sing and play guitar, so there's music present there as well. But it's a bit odd, and also with what I do, some people get it and some people really don't get it. Um, so sometimes it's quite funny. You get
Hmm.
some.
And do you think will you continue to do both? You'll continue to do your music. Is there any sort of big goals when it comes to your music that you still
I
want to
mean,
do?
I'm pretty content with what I've achieved. I used to tour a
Yeah.
lot around the world. I've seen the world for free. I mean, what a blessing.
Hmm.
But since COVID, that's really changed. So I don't know. I'm just going along with it. I'm still making music. I'm releasing records. I am getting a bit older. Am I going to be too old to go to the club soon? I don't know. I hope not. But I would
Hmm.
like to think that I can continue doing both. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
of
think it's
course.
important for the balance. I think when you go too deep into one world, it can be, it's important to have equilibrium. So I'll keep trying to do
Hmm.
both.
Yeah. And what about your healing work? So you're doing the retreats and you're running your circles. So obviously, anyone in Glasgow, I'll leave all the details for them to come and check out your work because having been in your space, I can recommend coming along. But what do you, is there anyone like that you feel in particular maybe you work with or yeah, so really, yeah, what kind of women do you feel you work or men do you feel you work with or why are they coming to
Yeah,
you?
it's a good question. So Kambo is a very, very versatile medicine. It's not for everyone, so there are some
Mhm.
contraindications. So it's very important to have a detailed medical consultation before, where I can see if it's suitable for someone or not. And it's a very physical medicine, but actually most people that come and see me will come for or see benefits in their mental health. So I primarily work with women. Maybe it's just by default because I am a woman, but I
Yeah.
work with a lot of women. And since I opened my studio, over 400 people have come to see me there, which is amazing to see it grow so much. But mainly it's things like depression, anxiety, various issues with trauma stored in the body, um, maybe things like autoimmunity, digestive issues, a lot of pains. So Kambo is an amazing analgesic. It works so well on the nervous system and inflammation. So um, a lot of my clients will come because they have persistent pain. They don't really know where else to go, what else to do, or they've been to the doctor and they've been told there's not much we can do, it's all in your head,
Mhm.
or the word, oh, it's just autoimmune is usually what doctors will use to kind of get rid of someone quickly, but these issues,
Yeah.
when we go
Yep.
deeper in them, there's so much to unpack and to see how maybe events in our life have impacted our body so that this is now manifesting in some kind of chronic illness. And Canva's very good for that.
Mhm.
And the good thing is that it's an intelligent medicine that knows what we need. So even if we don't understand where it's coming from, all you need to do is just surrender
Mhm.
to this medicine and it will know what to do.
Mhm.
It sounds too good to be true, but
Yeah.
it really works like that. It's a gift from nature that seems to have
Mhm.
something for everyone.
Yeah. I definitely felt the physical benefits of it. And I also set an intention. Obviously, you asked people to set their intention. And I didn't tell you this, but when I came home that evening, I had a big breakthrough on my intention
Okay,
as well.
wow. That's amazing.
Hmm. Yeah. And I do believe in the power of an intention setting anyway, because I think even just, working with your subconscious mind as well, that's a really powerful thing. But it was an intention that I'd been trying really hard to break through and I just couldn't, which is why I came for the Campbell. And yeah, that night had a really powerful, really big
That's
breakthrough.
very good
Yeah.
to hear. Yeah, and the beauty of Kambo is
Mhm.
also that we set our intention, and then I always say to people when they come for the ceremony to just forget about it because Kambo knows, the spirit knows, and
Mhm.
even when we sign up to do this work, the work already starts and things are happening behind the scenes on some level that we don't even understand. So
Mhm.
it's quite nice to come and work with this medicine and feel that you don't have to explain everything to someone, talk in detail about where you are in your past. You just sit and let it do the work. So I'm really happy to hear that it worked like that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember at the time, like immediately afterwards, thinking, "Oh, I think maybe this is enough. Maybe I won't need to do Campbell again." Whereas now, I think, yeah, definitely would come back and do
Yeah,
it
and
again.
it's something
Yeah.
that really calls you. And people often ask, how often should I do this? When how many do I need? And there's no such thing as an amount of Kambo for it to work. And whoever tells you that
Mhm.
is trying to sell something, because it can work extremely
Mhm.
well with just one session. But then if you want to commit
Mhm.
to the work deeper and explore it more, make like a pact with the medicine where you'll commit with a diet for a certain amount of time and maybe come and receive it more often, then it's a good idea. So I always tell people to come back if it calls them. And sometimes things will happen, not sometimes, actually quite a lot. People will see little frogs, or they'll find like a little frog picture or something like that, and it will call them.
Yeah.
Um, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's quite funny how it works.
Yeah. So when you went out to the Amazon jungle, they introduced you to the frog where the Kambo comes from. They showed you. Can you just tell us? Because I think there's a lot of people that we're talking about Kambo and they know that they're hearing frog, but they won't really know, where it comes from and much more about it. So do you want to tell us? Because it's really interesting that you've actually been out there and worked with it as well.
Yeah, I would love to tell you. Yeah, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about this medicine. First myth or misunderstanding is that this is some kind of poison, and because it's
Mm-hmm.
very sensational and whatever, people often impressed they will call it frog poison, which is really not true. So Kambo is the name for the secretion that comes from the frog that is also called the Kambo frog. It has many other
Mm-hmm.
names, but that's kind of the name that is used. And it's a secretion that's usually found in the skin of the frog. And the people I work with in the rainforest, they collect the secretion by holding the frog, and they use a wooden stick to just gently rub the skin of the frog like that. So the
Mm-hmm.
frogs are not harmed at all in this process. But because of how things are in the world, and because this is extremely popular now, unless someone knows where it's coming from, it can't be guaranteed that it's ethically collected. So that's something that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
But most people work with it very gently. And once the secretion is collected, we then rehydrate it and we apply it to the body, where it works its magic and works on many, many processes in the body. So it works on your circulation, on your immune system, works very strong on the nervous system, on the brain. It's one of the a few medicines that contains so many different active chemicals. And in the case of Kambo, we're working with peptides, and these peptides are bioactive. So basically, they are as if they were made by our own body. So when we receive them, they unlock processes, they stimulate things, they take things away, they repair things, and then in most cases, this process will end in a purge. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but that in itself is very good for us as well, to clean out the body, to help to stimulate detox. It works energetically as well. So there's so many things, and these peptides as well, they're in a lot of clinical research as well. So if you look online, there's many studies that people are doing on these peptides. But luckily for us, these
Mm-hmm.
frogs only make these compounds when they're in the wild. It's really good that
Yeah.
we cannot duplicate this, replicate it. And that's how it works.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a very straightforward ritual in the jungle. This
Mm-hmm.
ceremony or ritual is very functional. They don't have, a big, um, big kind of ceremony, spiritual la 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 around it. It's very functional. They mainly use it before they go hunting, to give them stamina, to give them energy, to sharpen their senses, to boost their immune system. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's magical.
Yeah. It is. And like I say, I definitely don't think that was my last time. I do feel like it's something that I think because of the aftermath and the breakthroughs that I had, and I think these things as well, it takes time to process. It can be a week
Yeah.
later before you start to feel the benefits as well, although you feel immediate benefits. That was my experience. You know, like you say, people come to you with depression as well, and they must feel the benefits not immediately after, but as time goes on
Yeah,
as well. Would you say
and
that's the
also
case?
like with any of these medicines or modalities, it's really
Mhm.
important to know that this is 50-50. You have to put some
Yeah.
work in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
Yes, Kambo does a lot for you, but the more you put in, the more you will receive back. The
Yeah.
more seriously you take, the more committed you are, the more you will receive. And sometimes, I even tell people you might feel a little bit worse for a couple of days because we're
Mm.
starting, we unlock so many new processes. We're working on some of the
Mhm.
maybe things that have been hidden inside. I mean, we don't really know how it works. It's magic, some of it. So sometimes people feel a little bit worse because they're processing and they're clearing out these things
Yeah.
from their body, from their subconscious mind. Uh, and yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes a week after, people will be like, oh, wow, I am suddenly not so bothered about that thing anymore. Or they'll notice that, in my case, I have OCD, so my mind is constantly trying to sabotage me with intrusive thoughts and things like that. So that
Mm.
almost went away with Kambo for me. So it really works on your
Yeah.
brain. It helps to, get rid of anxiety, depression, but sometimes it takes a bit longer, or maybe it takes a
Mhm.
couple sessions, maybe it takes commitment, change of
Mhm.
lifestyle, you
Mhm.
know, it's so, I don't know whose quote this is, but it's, in terms of healing, they always say, are you willing to get rid of the things that made you sick in the first place?
Mhm.
So we
Mhm.
have to have some willpower and dedication to make some changes.
Yeah.
You can't party every
Yeah.
weekend and eat crap food and then go and take Kambo and think it's just going to get better. If anything, Kambo will, not reward you for that behavior. Often it can make us, give us a bit of a hard time if we try and do these things. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I think that is important to say because it's not a magic wand. You
no,
need to meet it
yeah,
halfway.
really important.
Mhm.
And this is happening a lot with these medicines that, and then can turn into bypassing because people become very spiritual suddenly and they start going to different ceremonies and they buy all the trinkets and outfits and crystals and whatever, but
Mhm.
they're still avoiding the real core work or integration. And that
Mhm.
then becomes another crutch or a way of bypassing. It, Kambo is very, because of all the chemicals that are in it, it really does work a lot on its own, but the dedication is really important. So, yeah, we need to keep
Mhm.
empowering
Yeah.
people that they need to do some of the work as well. And that's sometimes the hardest part.
Mhm.
I know, I mean, I've avoided so many things for years as well, but these medicines will
Mhm.
kind of, sometimes they'll be a harsh teacher with a bit of tough love. They will show you, um,
Mhm.
where you
Yeah.
might have gone
Yeah.
wrong, or what you still need to bring to the table for the healing to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the more you put in, the more you'll
Yeah,
get back
always.
as well. So it is rewarding. Mhm. So what for the future then, Maya? What are obviously you're going to continue this work, the healing work in the Campbell and holding your women's circles as well. What other plans do you have in regards to the alternative therapies that you do? And also, I want to know what is there anything in the future that's just for you that's not work related? Any goals that you
Oh
have
my
for
God.
yourself?
Oh, that's a deep question, and that just made me realize that everything I
I
do
like
is
to
work
ask deep
related.
questions.
But it's not really work; it's a vocation. I really, I love everything I do, and for me, the most important thing is that I continue my study, that I keep doing what I do um, in an ethical way, with integration, with integrity, um,
Hmm.
and yeah, just to continue learning. One of my teachers always says, "Stay green," so that to me is always a reminder to have like a student's outlook on everything, because I want to keep learning until it's time for me to leave my body.
Yeah,
So that's about it,
yeah.
and help as many people as I can and have a good time. That's very important.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
love to have fun.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah. You need to. We're only here once as us, so. Thanks so much for sharing all of that. That was really insightful and interesting, and to hear more about your time in the Amazon jungle, I was really interested to hear more about that as well. So I will leave details in the description for anyone who wants to come and discuss with you, Kambo, or any of the other therapies that you offer as well, and obviously all your music work. People can come and look into that as well.
Thank you so much, and I hope to see you back
Yeah.
soon for some more Kambo.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Maya. I hope you enjoyed listening to Maya's story. I highly recommend going to Maya's Instagram page where there's lots of information about Kambo and lots of pictures from her experience in the Amazon jungle. All details on how to contact Maya are in the description below. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could hit the like button. Every like helps this channel grow. And hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when the next episode comes out.